What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the NS Builders Podcast. I'm Nick Schiffer, and today I want to talk about who we are as a business and how we have evolved and kind of what we're looking to really aim towards as a company, as a group of craftsmen, as a builder. But real quick recap, I started this business 7.5 years ago, and it was a carpentry business. It was just myself. And I started my business doing a kitchen renovation, and quickly got into a whole house remodel. If you guys want to hear kind of more about how this company started and some of those early projects, drop a comment below and maybe we'll dig into some of my early projects and how they went and how I think they could have been better and what I learned along the way. It quickly evolved into me hiring people out of necessity. Labor, hiring friends and family. And then when I hired Mike, who's actually still with me, he's been on the podcast as well, Mike Hume, he's been with me the longest. And that's when I realized that I wanted to start growing a company because there's other like-minded individuals out there that believed in the same thing I believed in and wanted to build really cool projects. So fast forward to today, we have, every year we've grown, and that's not necessarily the amount of people that work here, but grown into the type of projects that we want to be doing. And what our focus has really been for the last probably year and a half now is aligning ourselves with people that value what we do. And that sounds silly that we wouldn't have aligned ourselves sooner, but in the early days of building a business, we were taking on a lot of projects that probably weren't a great fit, or we were over investing to a point that they were, financially unstable for the business. But it got us to where we are today. So today, we are really focused on ground up new construction, custom homes, and extensive renovation projects. Now, that is what our main focus is. There's oftentimes a project that comes in our lap. We did a great primary suite project last year. That's a smaller project from, the size per se. It was actually a really complex project, and it made sense for us. And, that's something that we would certainly consider. The smaller projects, what they have to do is they have to check more of the boxes. I'm using air quotes. They need to make sure that they fit really what we're after. We've really built this business into, building it around structure, building around communication, really, finding the failure points, finding out what our weak points were on projects, even active projects. Now we look at all right, what are we doing that is not working? Where are we failing? Where are we, not meeting expectations? And we're really trying to hone in on that every single solitary day, making sure that we're working towards something better. And every new job start, we're able to kind of test what we've learned to date on a project previously. And every new job start, we're seeing these exponential leaps into being better prepared, being better with communication, being better, with setting expectations. And, and that's really important for us to, that's really important for us to get ahead of, kind of being in front of the ball rolling down the hill rather than be behind it. And, why that's important is that if we're going to continue to grow and do larger projects and more complex projects, we need to have our systems in place. So one of the things that we are, kind of structuring actively right now is that my role as owner, I've always been involved heavily with the day-to-day operations, supporting the guys in the field. We've actually made a couple new hires. Two of the individuals won't be starting with us for a couple months now. One about a month out, and the other one in September. We'll introduce those at a later time. But it's part of our restructuring process and part of really formalizing how our projects are going to be ran. So, for us, if you are looking to work with us as a builder, again, we're looking to work with people that value what we do. We bring great craftsmanship to a project. We're really thorough with the details. We're not going to be inexpensive, and we're not going to be fast by any means. It's really important for us to slow down and really pay attention to the process and really pay attention to how we approach things and the level of execution. The details matter to us. And that's where we find that when we're aligned with someone that, whether it's an architect, a designer, or a homeowner, when we're aligned there, we grow and we become really successful at that project, and we're able to, and it's a fun project. When we lack somewhere in the disconnect, or we lack in, communication and expectation, that's where the project doesn't go as smooth. So again, kind of, outlining what we're looking to, or what we are focused on, is these ground up new construction projects. And why we are so focused on shifting a lot of our business to that is because we want to, control the process. We want to work with a really detailed and really great architect that can help us, work collaboratively with us. And we have 4 great new construction projects right now with all great architects that are immensely thorough in their process. It's everything. They're coordinating down to ductwork layout. They're coordinating with the, of course, the structural engineer, but the mechanical engineer, the envelope engineer. Where 2 of the homes are going to be passive certified. So there's this really thoughtful approach to it, and where we find alignment there because we want to be thoughtful in our approach. The ground up custom is just really something that we are able to control the process from the very beginning. The extensive renovation, that we live in Massachusetts. There's a lot of history here. There's a lot of old homes. There's a lot of great old homes. And with that being said, we're certainly not going shying away from that. We've done primarily renovations a lot of my career, and heavily in that, and we would never give that up because there's equal opportunity. It's tends to be more expensive, and maybe that's another episode we can get into, new build versus renovate. And I think actually we've chatted about that in a previous episode. But the fact of the matter is, it is more complex, and and it doesn't always make sense to renovate a home versus build something new. But there's certainly times where it does. Think about in the city, a great brownstone. We have a brownstone project coming up, and that's a great project. We're working in the confines of a brownstone, and we have to be really creative with that. And it gives us this, it really kind of jogs your brain into thinking more creatively about an existing space because you don't have, unlimited parameters there. And then the small projects, they have to check the boxes. They have to be a good fit for us from our management, perspective. They need to be a good fit for us as a creativity perspective. Are we touching enough of the home? And oftentimes the biggest thing that it hinges on is the smaller type projects need to be heavy in the millwork. So for instance, we have another project that we're waiting to hear back on, and it's primarily a kitchen renovation. So that's something that we can, we have our cabinet shop, which is a separate division from NS Builders, can run that as a standalone project. Now, our cabinet shop is designed to fulfill NS Builders' needs for millwork and cabinetry. But, there's times where there might be a lull. So that's where our millwork shop, our cabinet shop, can take on a small project like a kitchen renovation. There's enough there where it's primarily millwork, and we can structure the supervision and kind of the project management around the millwork. And, and that's something that we're actively looking at, and gives us the opportunity to build out our portfolio for the millwork, build out our connection with, great architects and designers, and just really continue to build really cool spaces, but not have to go into a straight up, general contracted or project, a full-time superintendent or a project manager on a job, where we have the millwork shop that can support, again, small projects. So, kind of to recap, as a builder, we are, every year we've grown, and every year we kind of change what we're focused on, and with the really big, the ultimate goal of building ground up new construction homes. And I think that there's, an arm in this business that we're exploring pretty heavily in actually building and developing our own homes. So it would be for sale. And for me personally, and for the company, our mindset has really always centered around modern contemporary architecture. Now I say that, and we have some amazing traditional homes, more New England inspired homes that we are building, which I'm incredibly excited about. But from a personal aesthetic, for me, the modern contemporary is something I've always really loved, and I'm curious to see if we can have the opportunity to put our product on market for sale. And something that I'd love to get into in a future episode would be my thought process behind market value for something like that, where that's one of the most difficult things, or the biggest challenges I'm dealing with, is that the product that we want to put out, we feel strongly that it would be a better product than what is offered out there. So we can't use comps to consider what the price tag would be. Now, I don't say that in a conceited way or try to be naive to the real estate market. Just the fact of the matter is that we would want to be putting out a product at a very high level for a very small group of people, which doesn't always work for, say, a development or a quote unquote spec, especially if they're not self-funded, which I don't think in the beginning this would be a self-funded endeavor. And I'm kind of divulging a lot of information here, but it's just I like to share what our path is as a builder, what we're focused on, and always look for further alignment with not only clients but architects, and just other professionals in the industry. It's something that I've gained a lot of information from talking to other builders and talking to other people. I've had the opportunity to consult with people all around the country, and actually now I'm offering something similar where if you're interested in doing some consulting, I am offering a 1-hour consulting session. There's a link below the video. It is a paid consult. The way I look at it is that we produce a weekly podcast here, the Modern Craftsman podcast, and all the videos and everything else that we put out. All of this information that I learn, I'm regurgitating and sharing. But the opportunity to talk one-on-one, I wanted to carve out an hour a week for anyone that wanted to kind of dig into something specific, and we can get into it. So if you're interested in that, make sure you click the link in the bio, and we'll see you guys next week on the NS Builders Podcast.